In our island and coastal region, harvesting the wealth of oceans is a tradition which peoples of the Caribbean region have carried out for years. But in modern times, it is not enough just to catch fish and deliver it to shore. Markets are important, and increasingly, this means exports. Ocean Delight of Suriname is one of more than 70 small and medium scale fish processing and exporting companies in the CARICOM region, sending its products to numerous countries around the world. It is a well established and vertically integrated operation supplied directly from its own vessels into its factory. It sells into national, regional, and international markets, including the EU and US, which have strict requirements for food safety, with compliance checks made on products and conditions of production. SME fishery business operators, especially those working in developing countries, experience immense challenges getting their products into international markets, largely because they have difficulties in complying with the various regulatory requirements imposed by the importing countries. Ian Goulden is president of the International Association of Fish Inspectors, a professional association for fish technologists which advises on specific aspects of the international fish trade.
There are many additional requirements which also underpin food safety. For example, proper cleaning and sanitizing procedures for the factory and its equipment using the correct chemicals and detergents. Things like the hygiene of personnel, not just their uniforms and things like hand washing, but also their behavior. Issues such as having an effective pest control regime and a safe chlorinated water supply are also important to monitor. So all of these things, which we call standard sanitary operating procedures, have to be specified, they have to be implemented by the operator, and they have to be documented and proven in order to ensure access to those particular markets which the operator is seeking to enter.
Complying with these requirements can present considerable challenges to operators, especially those located in tropical developing countries, where keeping on top of a wide range of food safety hazards can be a problem. Whilst Ocean Delight has worked hard to meet international requirements and already has a food safety management system in place, which is approved by the competent authority responsible for certifying fish exports, the VKI Stitch Sting Viscurins Institute. However, maintaining this system proved to be challenging. The company employs a multinational workforce with staff not only from Dutch-speaking Suriname, but also from Haiti, Cuba, and Guyana. Since supplies are seasonal, so are the workers, with many on short-term contracts, resulting in a high staff turnover. New employees starting work for the company often have little experience of working in fish and food factories and do not have high levels of education. To ensure continuity of quality and food safety compliance means that staff at all levels should be well trained in their tasks. In particular, new staff should be trained in the key elements of food safety before they start work, and existing staff should have their knowledge refreshed and updated periodically. However, until now, the company has not had a formal training program for its staff, and as a result, levels of plant and personal hygiene were also difficult to control. The weak capacity of the workforce was identified by the management as one of their longer-term barriers to the development of improved quality and safety. With customers in the EU and USA, these gaps in capacity presented a risk of loss of access to international markets. The company was helped to address this problem by the Caribbean Regional Fisheries Mechanism, CRFM, under a project funded by the EU. The CRFM is a regional intergovernmental body providing technical support services to fisheries management and development in CARICOM countries. Courses were developed and delivered based on a series of guidelines specifically developed and published for this purpose by the CRFM. The guidelines provide a wealth of technical information and guidance on how to ensure that fishery products produced in the region are safe for human consumption. The guidelines are produced in French, English, Spanish, and Dutch languages and cover a range of different topics such as food safety in capture fisheries, aquaculture, HACCP systems, important food safety hazards, traceability, etc. The content reflects the species and practices commonly encountered in the Caribbean region. Peter Murray is Advisor on Fisheries Management and Development at the CRFM Secretariat.
The special publications are intended as guides to the food safety conditions required for fishery business operators producing for export, which are equally applicable to domestic trade. They provide structured guidelines to ensuring the safety of fish and fishery products for human consumption in terms of best practices and official controls.
The CRFM supported Ocean Delight to develop their in-house training capacity based on the guidelines. Ocean Delight nominated 5 of their permanent and experienced managerial and supervisory staff as trainers, each with the appropriate language skills of Dutch, English, Haitian Creole, and Spanish. They then followed an intensive course addressing critical points in the food safety management system. The appointed staff were trained by specialists in the core subjects of the CRFM guidelines, namely food safety hazards, their controls in the company's products, basic microbiology, cleaning and sanitizing methods, as well as personal hygiene. The trained trainers then delivered the training courses to 120 workers who each received 6 hours of basic training in their own language on how to ensure that the safety and quality of fish produced for the market meets international standards of hygiene. Personal hygiene was an important area to address. Workers were taught about the importance of wearing the correct protective clothing, boots, and hair covering. Hand washing was another important procedure to ensure was done properly so as to maintain good food safety conditions. Workers were taught when they should wash their hands and, importantly, how to do so in order to ensure that food poisoning bacteria are removed. For example, after visiting the bathroom. Standard operating procedures for cleaning and sanitizing of the factory were also addressed, such as the correct application of detergents and sanitizing chemicals, as well as the correct procedures and use of equipment to ensure that the factory environment does not contaminate the product. One of the important tasks for some workers in charge of cleaning was making up solutions of hypochlorite to be used in plant sanitizing, such as washing and rinsing. Here, the concentration of hypochlorite is critical to ensure optimal sanitizing, since stronger solutions are less effective. Cleaning teams were trained to make up solutions to the correct strength and to make a confirmatory check. As well as principles of hygiene, the training also addressed fish quality control, with an overview of microbial, chemical, and enzymatic spoilage, pathogenic bacteria, methods of prevention of fish spoilage and quality loss, proper ways of chilling, icing, freezing, and storage of fish, and the importance of ensuring frozen temperatures are maintained. Special safety concerns regarding species such as mackerels and tunas were also addressed. If held at too high a temperature, these species can produce histamine, which causes severe allergic type reactions in consumers, so special attention is required to the cold chain. Here, it is essential that icing is done correctly and temperatures kept below 4 degrees centigrade throughout. Kimberly Kisman works as a processing warehouse coordinator in Ocean Delight and is one of the trainers who has received training in the CRFM Guidelines. She is now responsible for implementing the worker training program.
The information that reached to us was very interesting, very useful, and very clear, and I was very excited to tell my colleagues about it too. All parts are useful for me in my work. I apply the things I've learned regarding hygiene and food safety, not only at work but everywhere I go, and I also advise others on it too. Because of this training, I am now more confident to say that most employees of Ocean Delight have necessary knowledge on food safety, which would help bring safe quality food on the market while attracting other markets internationally, and therefore help secure this company and my job as well.
In addition to providing all of the materials for the staff training, the CRFM guidelines have also helped Ocean Delight to review their HACCP plan and to make some improvements to it, such as rigorous temperature controls on raw material as a way of preventing the development of histamine toxicity. This allows the company to reduce the amount of sampling and testing and achieve the same level of safety at lower cost. These changes were approved by the competent authority, the VKI, and will reduce the cost of sampling and testing sustained by the company, as well as the risk of non-compliance. Brittany Casmaran is the QC manager and was responsible for implementing the plan to apply the CRFM guidelines.
The training delivered during the project was interesting and had useful information, and it was also very valuable to us because it was based on the current conditions and concerns at Ocean Delight. Ocean Delight only started exporting to some Caribbean and Asian countries in 2020 and to the EU by the end of that year. The CRFM guide helped us improve our food safety plan into performing better risk analysis based on the potential hazards in fishery products. In our case, especially on the requirements of the hazard histamine. The guidelines would also be useful for future developments, changing our processing steps, having more advanced machines because they are currently still very basic. An additional department for cereal processing is currently planned and to start in the near future. And we are using the guidelines to adjust the current food safety plan of our company. It's safe to say that we will keep on using the guidelines and of course whenever an updated version is available.
Peter Murray from the CRFM.
The region needs to build capacity among key government and private sector entities, such as small and medium enterprises in fisheries and aquaculture. This means looking at every operational level in the industry, including production, processing, distribution on the local and export markets, and the further development of the SPS regulatory environment, as well as strengthening SPS capacity in the fisheries sector. These guidelines respond to a need to extend good practices within the region for a sustainable fisheries sector by production that meets food safety requirements, thus enhancing the industry's role and contribution within the blue economy, strengthening competitive advantage, product development, and value addition, and improving the overall profitability of fisheries and aquaculture.
So, thanks to the CRFM guidelines, fishery businesses in the Caribbean region, such as Ocean Delight, now have a proven set of technical guidelines and resources for strengthening of staff knowledge and skills to produce good quality and safe products, which, importantly, reliably comply with the demands of the international market.